Alright everybody, I've been talking about sharing my sniper settings with people. Here is the sniper tune. This is way deep into it. I have been tuning it for over a year now and it just keeps maturing. But if you look at the screen here, you got this fuel map. Then if we graph it, that's the graph. You want it to look smooth. I have a little rough over here because I've been adding the fuel above 4,500 RPM. My car automatically shifts at 45. That's normally how I drive it in the streets, so that's where it's been adding it. But if I take it to 6, I need it to have the same amount of fuel that it's been adding at 45. We'll see how that goes. My air fuel ratio table, you can see I keep it rich all the way at the top. I don't want to blow the engine up, so I try to stay rich to stay safe. Acceleration enrichment. Not much of a curve, pretty gradual mountain. Temperature enrichment. Well, acceleration enrichment, I haven't messed with much of the other stuff, mainly just this. Temperature enrichment, this is what the car likes to run at. I have my closed loop coming in at 140, so I turned off all the enrichment after 140. The car runs at 160 most of the time, so I wanted it to start learning sooner. And you have air fuel ratio set offset. You can see I'm adding the air fuel ratio right here, making sure it stays rich when it's cold. Air temp enrichment is pretty basic. I haven't really changed and modified that. Cranking fuel, when I turn down the prime, if you look down here, my prime settings, you can see that it's only a 1. So since I only have 49% prime with a 1 multiplier, I have to add a bunch of fuel when it's cold to make it start. Then the fuel cut control. This is why you guys got to get the USB cable for your sniper. You can't access this setting with the handheld. But with this, you can see I have it. You can't really see it. Let's see. Oh, there you go. So I have the decel time is 3 seconds and 125 to add the fuel. Now if we go to idle controls, you can see my idle curve. 900 to cold, 750 when warm. Pretty simple stuff. IX settings, I've played with these. Recently changed this RPM to 1000 RPM above idle to start the ramp, and RPM above idle control 200. Now IAC parked, this is where your main startup stuff is going to happen. If you're having to add throttle to make the car start, you need to increase your IAC position, the hold position. This is the IAC parked position. You got to increase that to make sure you can start the car at all the different temperatures. If the car's not starting, you got to put gas, you got to push on the gas pedal to make the car start. That means you need to increase your IAC, because by pushing the gas pedal, you're just allowing more air to come through. This is what I've had. The car starts all temperatures, very quickly, smooth. There's other settings in here. You have all your sensor stuff. If you're going to change this stuff, you want to change it before you start your tuning, because once you start changing all these things, then it will mess up your whole base fuel map. When I talk about base fuel map, I'm talking about this. The scales that you see right here and across the bottom will change if you change those sensors. If you change where the warnings are and all of this stuff, or even the map scale, you change that scale, it's going to change your whole fuel map, and you're going to have to start all over. Ask me how I know. This is your basic setup. This is the stuff that you see when you first turn on the sniper and you're trying to program it. You can see it's an 8-cylinder, 437 cubic inch. Cam type is race. The rest of it I have not fooled with. You have your EFI parameters. This is a bunch of other stuff. Basic, all you really need to put in is your fuel pressure and the rated for the fuel pressure. And then you have your inputs and your outputs. I don't have anything else getting controlled, so I don't use this. Closed loop and learn. This is where I changed it. If you look, my enable minimum coolant temp for closed loop is 140 degrees. I did that so my car will run and learn sooner. It takes a while for it to get to 160. I have a 160 thermostat. It stays 160 almost all day. Unless you're sitting in traffic, then you'll see it climb to 190. Learn parameters. I have base fuel learn, enable RPM to learn. I have my learn enabled only after 900 RPM. With my type of cam, the computer will constantly fight itself trying to get it to learn right, but you'll never be able to get the computer to dial in your idle properly. If you go over here to your learn table as you drive, all this stuff will be filled up with data. When you transfer it over, you need to go back, you go to your graph, and you smooth all. Right here, this big dip down here is for my idle. When you smooth it, it will constantly raise it up. After you transfer it and you smooth it, you need to bring your idle back down, or you just increased all the fuel you had at idle, which is not necessarily a good thing. And you have your spark table right here. Don't really use it. I'm still using an HEI. There's other stuff. This right here is to sync up with the computer. And then this is my favorite right here, the heads-up display. It shows you all your stuff really quickly and easily. You can see the gauges while you're driving. And you can check to make sure all your stuff is still good. This is a great tool to have open while you're trying to tune your idle. You can see where your map is. You want to pay attention to whatever your map reading is and what your AFR reading is. That way you know where to tune your map if you need to lean it out or enrich it. This is very helpful. And you have this right here, which will show you the waveforms. If I was hooked up to the computer right now, you'd be able to see all the waveforms on the graphs and all of that. And let's see, if you wanted to open a tune, you go open. Very simple. And you can see I have numerous tunes in here. Currently I'm on tune 19. We started with tune 1, live tune, etc. I'm already to 19. I change the tune not that often, once every couple of months or once a month or so I'll hook up into it. Make sure everything's still good, change things as necessary. And that's about it. These are the settings that I've run. This is the stuff that I used. Like I said, I've been driving the car for over a year now, and everything's good. If you go over to your idle and you go to your IX settings, right here, you can change sniper controlling it, or you can have it slow to respond, medium, fast speed, or fast to speed. I leave it on the sniper. I've tried with slow and medium and fast. The slow works good if you want to hear the cam lope and the engine idle to be kind of rough, but for basic everyday driving, just leave it on sniper, you'll be happy. If you want to try to have it as smooth as possible, you can go to fast, but sometimes the computer will fight itself according to what your settings are. And this is my basic walkthrough of my sniper and how I've set it up. I hope you guys enjoy it. It's been a lot of fun. Any questions, just ask. I'm glad to help anybody that has any questions or wants to learn more about this stuff. Have a great day.